Yeah. Welcome to another episode of EE&J's K9LAB. If you're wondering why I got the Dr. Zoidberg on, it's because I'm outside and it is cold. All right. All right. What's going on, fellas? How you guys doing?
Everything's going great. Everything's going amazing.
All right. This episode, we want to touch up on some questions that we got from some of our friends overseas based off of might as well just jump right into it. Based off of some of our conversations on our last podcast, we wanted to elaborate on some of the things that we got, some of the questions that we got, and some of the things that we were talking about. I guess so. I got a bunch of questions written down here. You remember the guy's name who sent over the questions? E.
Give me a second. Let me look. I don't remember his name exactly. Give me 1 second. I'll tell you.
Okay. I just give him some credit to
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
the
Bad with
tentacles
names.
get in the way.
Yeah.
The tentacles get in the way.
Yeah. You're gonna have to post up that URL link for that ski mask, you know?
Yeah, it's pretty warm. It's pretty warm.
His name is Lace Ustroop.
Okay. And
Yeah.
where's he at? Sweden, Netherlands? Netherlands? I think
It was like Finland or something like that he was talking
Yeah.
about, right?
Yes.
Okay. So he sent us some messages. He had a bunch of questions. We got some other questions from some other people as well. Some of our friends up in New York and stuff like that. So let's get right into it. I know sometimes there's a language barrier and some of the lingo that we use, not everybody may not understand what it is. So this podcast, we're going to touch up on some of that stuff. One of the questions that we got when we talk about giving treats and stuff like that in the middle of the day, we want to know exactly what a hot dog was. This is a hot dog. This is a hot dog. Yes, you can put this on a bun with some ketchup. You know, yes, you can eat a hot dog, or you just take this, you slice it up into little pieces, you know, and you use this as a treat. Now, you don't want to do what that one breeder out in Texas does. He keeps this in his back pocket for nefarious reasons. We know what that boerboels breeder does, and we'll talk about that at some other podcasts. Keep these in his back pocket for
That joke crazy.
on untold nefarious reasons. But that's a hot dog. You know, you take these up. You know, a lot of us use these as treats. You cut them up into little pieces. This becomes a high value treat.
Yeah.
And a high value treat, you know, usually you get, you know, dogs to, you know, respond to that and they look forward to that. So you can use anything you need as a treat. I know I like using them again as a high value treat. They look forward to those. I think Emmanuel does the same thing, and Jonathan as well. So
I have seen people use dried chicken hearts, liver, duck feet, all kind of things. But like you say, you want to have a high value treat when you're doing this with your dog.
Yeah, and this is just easy. It's cheap. Dogs like it for the most part. And
you could get them anywhere.
Yeah, you can get them anywhere. And it's just becomes something that they look forward to. They smell it on you. They smell it on your hands. They know what's going on. People cut these up. You can keep some in your mouth, spit it out the dog. You know, keep them in your pocket, do all types of shit with them. Just don't use it for nefarious reasons.
That's right.
And so that's basically what a hot dog is. I know everybody, you know, so hopefully that clears that up. It's the Wiener Schnitzel. And kind of take it from there. So one of our other questions is what is a keep, right? So for us that are familiar with the American Pit Bull Terrier, the term keep gets thrown around a lot. And if you're not really familiar, or, you know, some of our friends overseas, the term can be a little confusing. So let's just kind of break it down. So when you hear the word keep, in reality, the keep is a simple, it's a little bit more than a simple, but it's a structured conditioning management program is what it is. It's not necessarily like a single workout. It's not a random training. It's a planned system designed to bring a dog into peak physical and mental condition. So for a specific event, whatever that event may be, you know, the proper keep includes things like conditioning work, nutrition, weight management, rest, recovery. It's a scheduling system, and overall health management of the animal in that process. So you kind of think of the keep as the same way a professional athlete prepares for any competition. There's a timeline, there's a process, and there's a goal, and there's an end date with that goal. So when you hear, the term program, it's the overall structure to that particular, program that's going on. It's to
Yeah.
keep the program and the workload that goes into it, and how the dog recovers from the workload, and how it's managed in that time frame. I think that's probably the easiest way to describe that. I don't know if you guys chime in and you tell me what your definition of the keep would be.
Yeah, no, I think you hit it pretty spot on, you know.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I mean,
I
you're spot on. I mean, it's no better definition you can give. You gave it great.
Okay, so when we talk about things like the keep, and I'm going to look at some of my notes that I have here. Let's talk about like the physical conditioning of the animal, and the importance of rest and recovery during your keep. I think a lot of people focus on muscle building, and feeding. What's not touched up enough is the rest that goes into that timeline, and preparing for the keep, and how important rest is. How important would you guys say the rest in that program, that conditioning program? How important would that be for you guys?
For me, rest is real big, man. There's no way you can work a dog 7 days a week and think that he's gonna build muscle. The whole time you're tearing down, if there's no rest for him to build that muscle that you tore down up, it doesn't work like that. 7 days a week of work does not work. It does not work. I mean, it is a proven fact. It doesn't work. 7 days a week, 7 days of work a week doesn't work for no one. So rest is super important for my keep.
Yeah, yeah,
I
same
have to
here,
agree
man.
with that. Jonathan, what are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, same thing. I mean, one thing I've learned over the short period of time, it's rest is very important, and it's not just rest itself is when to rest the dog, because that's a very important thing to see as well, when you need to rest, and when the dogs earn the rest as well, because there is different things that could happen, or you see in a dog where you're like, man, you just earned yourself some rest. You know what I'm saying? Or even, it could be something like, oh, I might be overworking. Let me rest him up, but it's just like visual, but it is very important. I think that's one of the key factors to a lot of things. Yeah, to success.
Absolutely. Yeah, I cold-heartedly agree with that. Um, let's talk about the mental conditioning part of the keep, and the importance of that, right? So that's another part of the keep that needs to be talked about. When you're working a dog and you're looking to see how the dog handles the stress of being worked, that's part of the conditioning process, and how they react to that. So if you got a dog, and I can tell that they look mentally burnt out. They're stale, they're stagnant,
Hmm.
they're not showing a lot of interest in what we're doing. It
Yeah.
might be time for some extra rest.
Yeah.
And that's an important thing to look at when you're in a keep and you're in that program. Is to monitor that, and not be afraid to take a step back and go, this dog needs some rest. What do you
Right.
guys thoughts on that?
I think that's 100% right. When I go to my dog's kennel, they're normally jumping, jumping up, come out the doghouse. Soon as they hear me come in, they're jumping up, coming out the doghouse, ready to greet me. Now, if I have one that stays, or the one that I have in the keep, and she just stays in the kennel, or he just stays in the kennel, or he not jumping as much as he would normally be, I might say, hey, I'll see how you gonna look this afternoon. If you still looking like you are, I'm gonna give you a break. And that might be outside of my scheduled break. So let's just say I worked today and I was gonna work the next day. If I go and see that particular dog just not as like exuberant as it normally is, out break. It doesn't. I don't lose anything from it.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
same here. You always got to pay attention to the dog, but this always comes as well with like I always like to do something fun in between as well. You know what I'm saying? Or end it on a fun note, but that to me sometimes could be very important, to change the dog, like how they view that day, throw in a because like, us working out or something like that, I know we touched on this, but and it might be a little off, but not just training, for dragging track or whatever it is, but for me, like fun is spring pole, flirt pole, things like that, and introduce that maybe sometime that's what will give them that little mental break that they need, and then kind of go from there. Even if they do need a break, we end with a fun break, like something fun at the end, and then we give a day or two of rest, and then move go from there. Yeah,
Yeah, I like to end almost every training session with some form of play at the end of
yeah,
that. So they're
yeah,
looking forward to just being a dog at the end of it.
yeah.
Um, so now that we've established kind of what it is, and it's a systematic program, right? And again, there's no different than an athlete preparing itself for competition, right? It's the mental,
Mhm.
it's the physical that goes into that. One of the things here that they were asking about is, how much time off during the off season do you get? Or actually, before we even go to that, what they wanted to know was, uh, what do you do in between the keeps, and how do you plan out a keep for the year? Is it something that you just do randomly? Is it something where you look at the shows that you're going to and try to adjust accordingly and prepare? A lot of us, doing our keeps range anywhere between 8 to 10 to 12 weeks, depending on the dog, the experience of the dog, what time of the year, et cetera, et cetera. So people have to understand that your keep has to get tweaked,
Mhm.
depending on where you're going, how far it is, the time of the year, the
Yeah.
age of the dog, and the experience of the dog as well, and how much time is already into the dog. So, um, for us, like in between a keep, the dog is probably not going to do much of anything other than just be a dog. We're just going to play, keep the dog in shape, just regular walking, fetching, playing with the ball, maybe do some obedience work, sharpen up on that stuff. And weight management, which is keep an eye on the dog's weight, depending on what time of the year it is. If I have a
Yeah.
dog that has to meet weight for that particular weight class, right? So you say to yourself, okay, it's, you know, I'm probably, I don't know, maybe like 16 weeks before a show. I know with this particular dog, I'm probably going to do an 8-week keep. Let me monitor the dog's weight, see where I'm at with the dog's weight, and
Mhm.
see how close I need to be to that, where I'm
That's
not
true.
pulling
Yeah.
too much weight off the dog too fast, or the dog is too lean right now, actually, to put more weight on the dog before I go into the keep. So it,
Yeah.
it can go either direction. Um, and so that's a very important aspect of that, because you can't keep dogs in peak conditioning the whole entire fucking year. Like, you just cannot do that. It's not good for
Yeah.
them. It's hard. You're going to lose muscle mass. You're going to burn dogs out that way. And I think it's a common mistake that people, when we talk about the keep and weight management, they try to hold peak weight for way too long, and you can actually see it in dogs that they've been doing that with. Their strength level starts to drop off. It's extremely hard to hold the keep,
Yeah.
for long, long periods of time. The whole point of it is to get the dog to peak, and peaking is when the dog has reached optimal performance level. And whatever that is for that dog, it needs to be adjusted and needs to be looked at. That's where the handler comes in, your handling skills come in. You're learning how to read a dog and say, okay, we're about to peak. The dog is about to be in optimal condition where it's going to be the strongest it's going to be for its age, for the program that we're at, for the breed, for the weight that we're trying to hit that goal. Um, and you can only hold that for short periods of time. You got to bring the dog back, let it gain a couple of pounds again, and then do it again little by little. So that's at least my approach to that. I think we can pretty much all agree on that. I think. But what are your thoughts on that, E?
So for me, it all depends on the dog's age. So when I first, and you're right, a keep you can't hold a keep all year. But when I have like younger dogs, like this year, I'm coming out with a Max Tokyo puppy named JT. Um, and so with her, she's going to start her season off in February, and she'll probably go all the way to June. I mean, she probably every month she'll be pulling, but I won't have her in like a hardcore 8-week keep, because at this point in time, I'm still mentally conditioning JT, getting her used to the road, getting her used to the shows, the crowds, the noise, the sounds, eating on the road. So from February to about June, we're getting her experience, and then around June I'll put them on an 8-week rest. Kelly and JT on an 8-week rest to start getting ready for ADBA Nationals, which this year is September, like the first weekend of September, Labor Day weekend. So I'll, and that's how I normally do it every year. Like right now, Kelly don't need any experience, so truthfully, I don't have to. I can pick and choose the shows I bring her to, but JT needs all of it. She needs all the work she can get, so she's ready for the big dance. What you got, John?
Okay.
Okay, so I don't know if he was I don't know if he disconnected a little bit, but just
It
wanted to
did.
make
It,
sure.
it did, but I'm sure it probably picked it up.
Okay, okay. I mean, for the most part, yeah, even like on the off season, I like to, you know, uh, just kind of maintain kind of things like that, fun stuff, spring pull, nothing too crazy. I don't like to do flirt pull unless I feel like they're ready for it, just because I got bigger dogs, and that pivoting kind of stuff. I like to keep it, little mill work and stuff like that. But for once I get closer, it's very similar to E. You have these dogs kind of going through the motion. And I don't worry too much about a keep, even if I have shows or if I'm going to a show that doesn't have to do with like any kind of championship or national event. I'll kind of go through the motion with them and kind of follow through and have a structured routine, but not as obviously not a keep until we get closer to that
So
national
basically not
time.
not to the full extent of an actual
Correct.
keep. It's kind of like a
Correct.
mini keep where
Correct.
you're just
Correct.
monitoring, keeping track.
Yes.
You
Yes.
have a schedule, workout program, but it's
Yeah.
not to the full extent of the keep, which what
Yes.
Emmanuel said makes a lot of sense as well. Like if you got a
Yeah.
young dog, you don't want to be putting that pressure,
Yeah.
that many shows over and over
Correct.
and over again. You're probably not going to monitor the weight that much. You're just going to
Correct.
kind of let the dog kind of sit, kind of
Mhm.
cruise. Again, because that's hard on the dog, pulling
Yeah.
weight and putting that kind of pressure that
Yeah.
comes. You don't really want to do that a whole lot, especially on young dogs. You kind of want
Yeah.
to let them float a little bit again in my opinion, and then when you get to the shows that you feel that's necessary,
Mhm.
then you do that. um
Yes.
and that's kind of how I feel about that. It seems like that's kind of like the same senses for you guys as well.
Yeah.
um and that's what people need to realize. Look at the dog you have, look at the age. Do you really want to be trying to put a dog in a keep show after show after show after show after
Mhm.
show?
Yeah.
Probably not,
Yeah.
and then especially a young dog, you got a young dog, it's what's the point? I don't know what's the
Yeah.
point of putting them in the keep, in the keep, in the keep, in the keep. You just monitor their weight, where they fall at, adjust it a little bit, and
Mhm.
then wait till it's that time where okay, now we need the keep, now we need the full
Yeah.
program, um,
Yes.
because it's the show, whatever show that is that matters to you to do that to. So I like that. All right. So let's talk about so and which kind of touched on that. So that's basically what you would do for a young dog. Now, if you had a fully trained dog that's already a seasoned dog, and let's just talk about like maybe a dog like Kelly, how is that going to differ from a young dog for you,
So with Kelly,
from show to
I pick
show?
it. Yeah, show to show. I pick the bigger shows to go to. Shows that I know there's going to be good competition. Statistically over the years, it shows that top dogs go to these shows. Those are the shows that I get Kelly ready for. I get her ready for the big shows. And then again, like I said, I'll take her to all the big ones of the year, and then June, no matter, I don't care what's going on. They get a break in June. June, they get about a 2-month break, 8 weeks off of just solid rest, being dogs, playing in the
You're
backyard,
breaking up a little bit.
sunbathing, chasing tennis balls, flirt
You're
poling,
breaking up, E.
spring poles, and everything. So that's what I do with Kelly. Now, like I said, JT, she's gonna get the same thing, the same play and everything that they get, but starting beginning of the year, I have to start getting her used to all the experiences.
Okay.
But what I did,
Hopefully we got all that.
I'm
I
talking
think we
through them
did.
because normally the
Yeah, I
app
think
picks
so.
it
I
up
think
on
so.
my end. The app picks it up, and
Hold on, E.
once it loads up,
Yeah.
once it
Yeah.
loads up, it'll all be there.
Did you hear that, Jonathan?
Yeah, for the most part, yeah, I got
Okay,
most
okay,
of
all
it.
right.
Yeah. Yeah.
We gonna have to invest on.
Yeah.
We're gonna do a GoFundMe for you, man.
Yeah,
Because
we are.
yeah, we're doing a
I don't
GoFundMe.
know what it is, man. Cause
I gotta
when I
take the
did the
hat off
podcast,
now.
when I did the
I
podcast with
I'm gonna
Johan,
do
I ain't had
words.
no problem. Hey, look, when I did that podcast with Johan, no issues, not one.
There you go again. I hear nothing. No here.
Yeah.
No here. No, I can't hear nothing. Nothing.
Hey, once it loads up, all this will come in. You'll see.
See, he talking shit. I can't hear. So,
I'm on that iPhone
okay.
again, y'all.
All right. So, oh my god. So let's see here. I'm looking at some of my notes here that I got here. Wintertime. That was one of his questions, is what do we do for the wintertime? How does that look for young dogs? How does the wintertime look for dogs that are, we lost E. We lost him.
Oh, man.
Here we go with the editing.
It's gonna be an easy one. It's gonna be.
It's gonna be easy now. He's gone. He's gone.
That's funny.
Oh my god.
He needs to put that router in the room he's doing it.
Oh my god. We lost him. There he goes. Here he comes.
Wait. Weird.
And he's back.
There you go.
I'm back. I don't know why it does that, man. This is the weirdest thing.
You got too many people on your internet.
It could. You know what? That could be it. I didn't never thought about
Bluetooth might
that.
not be connected. It might not be connected.
No here.
Yeah.
No, I can hear you guys. I can hear you.
Can't hear you nothing.
Yeah. I don't know why.
Well, do a little sign language. You know a sign language. You know how to sign language. That's funny.
Yeah, check your Bluetooth to see is it connected. Is it
No,
connected?
it's on
again.
I can hear you.
Again.
Oh my god.
Oh my god.
Guys, if y'all guys wanna, there'll be a GoFundMe for Emmanuel. You know, so just make sure you guys donate. You know.
Yeah, we're gonna get him a router,
a phone,
a new phone. We're gonna have to pay for. He'll need a MacBook or something, some Android device, anything from somewhere. To help Emmanuel with his internet issues.
Yeah,
that
for
he's
sure.
got going on right now. And this is why we haven't gone live.
Yeah.
Oh my god. Oh my god. All right, let's see where we're at here.
Oh, that's what you. There you go.
There we go. I'm on a real phone now.
You on a real phone now?
You go. I'm on a real phone now.
You on the Wi-Fi?
Huh?
Yeah.
No, I've been on the Wi-Fi. Just switched over to my Android. But what that means is I don't get to have a background
switched
like
over
you
to my
guys.
Android.
You know,
But what
that's
that
what I'm
means is
stuck
I don't
with.
get to have a background like you guys. So
Guys,
is all right.
that's what I'm stuck
Follow
with.
the link
I
below.
don't understand. Why can't you use the
But it's all
background
right.
on your Android phone? It won't let you at all?
It does. It doesn't even have. It don't even have the option to do
It does. It doesn't even have. It don't even
Android
have the
listening,
option to do.
You got to
it.
make sure you're able to put this
No.
this feature on your phone. Android. I don't know who the hell makes Android. Who makes Android?
Android.
Android, but it's Samsung.
It's just a Samsung phone.
Android, but it's Samsung.
Yeah. No, we back in.
You back in?
We back in.
Yeah.
Let's get
No,
it.
we back in.
All
You guys just got to see my plant in
We
my
back in. Let's get it.
liquor
roll-
cabinet.
You guys
behind
just
you.
got to see
He
my
has
plant
his rose
in my
back there. He has his rose.
liquor
Uh-huh.
cabinet.
That's
behind
right.
We're not gonna get into that right now.
you. That's right.
Y'all crazy.
Y'all crazy.
All right, so where were we at? We were talking about. Let's get back at it. We were talking about. What is the difference in keeps for an old for a trained dog versus a young dog, and how that's going to look like going into the show, which you went over that. So let's see here. Okay, so what happens before the keep and what happens in between the keep is one of the questions. And do we plan out our keeps? For me, before the keeps it's just a dog just being a dog for the most part. You know, again, weight management, you know, depending if you have a dog that goes in that class. With my breed of dogs, I don't have to worry about that much. You know, we're already in the unlimited class, you know, for most of our dogs anyway. So weight's not really that big of an issue. We're not pulling for percentage or anything like that. So that helps. With the smaller dogs, obviously you're going to keep an eyeball on that, and you're going to do that accordingly. in between the keeps, again, just resting and just letting your dog just be a dog for the most part, at least for us here. And then, yeah, you got to plan out the keeps. You know, you look at your schedule of the shows that you are anticipating that you're going to be going to, and you have to plan out, you know, weeks ahead in advance. Again, if it's one of those, you know, scenarios where you have a younger dog that's not that important, you know, you just adjust accordingly, you know, to your program. At least for us here, which I think that's kind of what you guys were at, Jonathan. What do you think?
Yeah, I mean, for the for the most part, the off season, obviously, it's uh, for before the keep, I'm always kind of messing with the dogs a little bit, making sure playing with the for a dog that's at least like some this is let's say this is the second season and I'm still not super familiar with the dog, or it's coming off of that puppy stage, right? And then now I can start playing with weight and stuff. I'll start messing with it, trying to do like little pre keeps here and there, kind of seeing where what what how the body reacts with less weight or maybe a little bit more weight, because sometimes a lean, fit looking dog, aesthetically pleasing dog is not always the best performing dog, you know. So it's one of those things where you got to kind of start to understand how that particular dog works with a certain type of keep, and that's why kind of what you said. It's like you got to understand and you got to tweak your keep
Yeah.
For that dog itself. So I think in the off, I say off season, but we're still competing. Um, is it's to just kind of get to know your dog and play and mess around and what works and what doesn't work, right?
So see, that's where I use the season. So like I said, JT's first show will be February, third week of February. Show down in Texas. Ron and Leanne Smith of Max Performance, they're putting on a show down there at their compound, and that'll be her first show. So I'll take her pretty much out, chain weight, with a little condition on her, but it just pretty much be chain weight, and I'll see how she does. And then that's where I'll start my baseline. Now, she's about 44 pounds right now. So what I'll do is I'll pull her as close to 44 pounds as possible, and then I'll the next show I might pull her at 40 and say, okay, well she was here. Then the next show might 42. I might even sneak down to 39 just to see how she looks. Now, any of that, on any of these shows, if she looks off, I'll go back to the drawing board and reassess the situation. But I do all this before nationals. You never want to play these weight games national time. This is stuff that you should be doing during the season, and figuring that
Yeah.
stuff out. But when you start playing weight games at nationals, you're gonna lose. You are going to lose, and you're going to disappoint yourself, and you're going to kick yourself in the butt for a whole year until nationals come back to try again to do what you set out to do
Yeah,
the year prior.
for sure. Yeah, you shouldn't be waiting till that particular show to say, "Oh, I'm going to bring the dog in at this weight." And that's another thing that people sometimes don't think. They think you're always
No.
looking, or a lot of people are always looking to bring the dog in at the lowest possible weight. Again, we're talking about the lighter class, not so much like my class is, big dog. I don't have to worry about that as much. But when you have that 40, 50 pound class, even that 30-pound class, a lot of people are chasing that low number, thinking that have to be at the bottom. And you don't have to be at the bottom. You have that. If you got the dog that's strong enough, hey,
Right.
I can only bring it down to 45. This is it. Well, hey, then 45 it is, or hey, he or she is, performs better, looks better mentally, physically at 45, even though you can bring the dog down to 42, leave it at 45. Leave it at 45.
Yep.
And that's
Yeah.
move
Now,
over a little bit.
I'm gonna say this.
Move over a little
Sometimes
bit.
now
That way.
it all depends.
Right
Like
there.
this
Yeah, there
year,
you go.
which way? This way. Yeah. So this year I bought Kellyanne for ADBA at like 41 pounds. Crazy part, I could have went up to 45. It was I could have won that class, but it made sense to be under because it was more points as far as dog of the year. So, but I didn't. Now that class would have been 35 to 45. So I bought her pretty much dead smack in the middle of the class and still had the same results. as I would have if I would have bought her at 35 or, wherever I would have bought her. But you don't always have to be at the bottom of the class in order to win the class, And some people, I know some people, they'll take a smaller dog, like let's say a dog's 32 pounds, they'll fatten them up to 35 to go against a dog like Kelly that's huge. And it's like it doesn't work. The best thing to do is stay at that 32, stay at that 31, instead of trying to go up. You don't always got to be at the bottom. Sometimes that's some people's Achilles heel is that they
You
always
don't, and
believe that
then
they have to be at
you
the
can see
bottom
it
of the class
on
to
the
win. You
dogs
don't.
that go to shows, and they're holding those dogs back at that weight. Especially a young dog that wants to grow. You can see it. It wants to put on mature muscle. And it just can't do it because they're just holding the weight back, for too long. And you can pick those dogs, out of the crowd real quick. One of the things they also touched about is was it? Oh, the winter time. I can't remember if we talked about that, but winter time for us, for me here, we don't do much of anything in the winter time. We'll play with dogs and just let them be dogs. For Jonathan, it's different. Jonathan out there in
It's
Florida,
cold. It's freezing out here,
get
man.
out of
I'm
here. It's
telling you,
cold.
it's
Jonathan's like, oh, it's 52. I'm cold. Yeah, no, with the hoodie. Get out of here. Get out of here. So, for us here, you know, wintertime, not much of anything. If anything, wintertime is used to kind of, adjust to new dogs, to young dogs, and kind of bring them through and get them ready for the next season. Experienced dogs that have some seasoning underneath them, they just sit around, be fat and happy, just do normal dog stuff. And just that's just about it. And I use that time to mess with younger dogs that can use some work, but the work kind of gets sporadic as well. Like right now, there's a lot of snow
yeah,
on the ground. I'm not out there with dogs cutting their pads on the ice and snow.
yeah,
It's not worth it. I seen some people dragging on ice and snow, and it's like, what's the point? Just give them
yeah,
off, give them off. That's how I feel about that. What are your thoughts, guys, on that?
yeah, yeah,
No, you hit the nail on the head. That's right. I'm not hurting my dogs.
yeah.
To try to get ready for. I mean,
Yeah.
it's really nothing. Truthfully, it's really nothing going on. I think the only show that's been this year has been Brian Hosfeld had a Christmas show, and it was. I wish I could have made it. But they had a Christmas show, and it was really nice. What the problem with it is, it was right after it was Nationals was October, and this show is December, so my dog's on break. They're breaking, and I don't want to break
Yeah.
their breaks for anything because it can set me back in the next year. So I always try to
Yeah,
pick and
yeah,
choose. But I
yeah.
would have just went down just for the camaraderie, of the whole thing. But definitely, man, the weather was a little bad up this way, so I couldn't make it down. But definitely the wintertime is for rest. My younger dogs, I'm letting them grow. They're getting older. They're turning into adults. They're getting muscle. I got them kind of fat and happy at this point. They just playing, being dogs.
Yeah,
No
yeah.
work. At least any that they feel like is work anyway. And that's what I do wintertime, man. It's just fun. Fun. Now what it is, it's time for me to lose some goddamn weight. So now I'm going to the gym.
Oh,
So you guys gonna be getting some videos of me in the damn gym.
Jonathan, how
Yeah.
no.
I'm bringing sexy back.
Jonathan, how does your winter time look for you since you're, out there in warmer weather? And do not say it's cold because it is not cold.
Well, first things first. I gotta always wake up and turn that damn tractor on to blow that snow off the driveway.
Yeah, the snow on the driveway, my ass.
Oh, but no, I mean, most of the time, obviously during that time, whether it's, I can't do that because of the elements like you guys do. I dedicate it to the young pups. If I have anything, if I have young dogs that need, as you guys know, that I need to, I have young pups, so I need to spend some more time, have a more thorough schedule, kind of put them on that path to success kind of thing.
Yeah.
This is the time that I use this and put a good routine on them, a good kind of a couple, a month or so straight, not super straight, but obviously in between we got rest, but like, a good solid work. And for the most part, like like Emmanuel says, there's no need to do anything after big events. I just let them get fat, lay around. If they want to go on the spring pole, they jump on the spring pole. Like my spring pole is always up there, and they literally run. If they feel like it, they will run to it. You know, everything's fun with them. Yeah, for the most part, that's pretty much it, man.
One of the next things that they asked about was body language and what to look for. So when you're training a dog, you got a dog in the keep. What's the body language? Um, and I think that's for me, that's you got to look at it, and I think that's kind of in sections, because you can look at the body language of the dog that's dragging. You can look at the body language of the dog on the track, and kind of take it from there. So I think the body language, the easiest way to describe that is, you got to know when to pull back, and you get to learn your dog. Every dog is different, right? Every dog is different, and every
Yeah,
dog's gonna
I was
give
just about to
you
say that.
different cues, on what to look for, and what
Yeah.
what Sun might do might be different than what Wednesday might do. What
Yeah.
Wednesday might do might be different than what Conquest might do. So you have to look at the cues that that particular dog is going to give you. Where one dog might start giving you that wide-eyed look, like, well, okay, we're getting close to that end spot.
Yeah.
Or you get other dogs that don't do that at all. They're just straight faced, and you're looking.
See, that's the problem with my line. They
Yeah.
don't they don't
Yeah.
really show it in their face. They don't get the white eye, they're not super vocal. So what happens is, and which I was gonna ask you a question about this, with like Kelly and JT and Tokyo, their tails will puff. They'll get that right at the base of the tail. Their tail will flare up, and that's how I know, hey, we're getting very close to the end. Sometimes I stop soon as I see it. Or if I have them on the treadmill, they're running, and all of a sudden I say, if I was shooting for, let's just say,
Yeah.
20 minutes, and we're at 15, I'm like, oh, they're not making 15. I'll pull them just because that tail flare, and that means they're pretty much going into high stress for my dogs. But let me ask you this: you cut the boerboels' tails off, man.
Sometimes
How do
you
you
can
see
see
that?
it
Do they
on
still
the
fluff up
back,
at the
right,
end?
right at the rump, right there. You can sometimes see that little puff right there.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
rough because it's rough with Sun, because he don't really give me some of that sign. With him, if anything, more than anything, he'll tend to break form.
Yeah.
He'll tend to break form a little bit, and okay, that's kind of where we're at.
Yeah.
Where his brother, he might give me the look like, what are we doing? Wait, that's what we're doing? Yeah, that's what we're doing. And I can kind of tell. So you can. That's
Yeah.
another thing where, like you said, some dogs
Yeah.
get vocal. Some dogs, they start to, like we call it, they start to sing. You know, and our lingo.
And excuse our slang, or if you want to call
Sing,
it, or the
sing.
lingo. When he says sling,
Yeah,
you'll
you
see
can
a
hear that.
dog slightly
It's
crack their
just like a
mouth, and
person at the gym going, you can.
Wait,
you'll hear it. You'll hear that.
Do it. Yeah. Yeah, you
do
see
it.
some
Do
dogs
it.
do that.
And
Wait a
they
minute. Do
do
it
it.
again.
You'll see
Do it
some
again.
dogs do it.
I didn't hear it good. I didn't hear it good.
I don't know how to do it, man. I'll try to bring a
Oh
dog
my
in next
God.
time.
Yeah, so you can see some dogs that do that. Or some dogs start looking around. You kind of see it in their face. Or you see some dogs have a certain like tick. Where they start to tap a
Yeah.
certain way on
Right.
like if they're coming down the track. And you see they're tapping a certain way. They're putting their feet a certain way that they normally don't do. Again, your dog, and you start to learn that. You start to learn those cues of, okay, it's time to pull back a little bit, or
Yeah.
we're reaching that breaking point where it's probably their max.
Yeah.
It's hard to give someone, or to tell someone, hey, this is what you should be looking for, because you have to learn that yourself with
Right.
that particular dog. You have to learn that. That's what part of being a trainer is about, is looking for that and understanding that every dog is going to be different. And it could be one of those cues, it could be all of those cues together, it could be none of those, and it could be something completely fucking different. But part of training is understanding that, learning your dog, and you get to learn that and see that. For me, out in the field when we're dragging, I start to learn some of that stuff, and then you get to see it, and then it translates into the track, and you get to see some of that stuff on the track. How do you feel about that, John?
Yeah, I mean, for the most part, yeah, I get more of a, kind of almost like a double step kind of thing, and then I'll see a little like shift, a little to a side or something like like they're like if you're kind of losing kind of control. Yeah,
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 and
yeah.
and
Very
I'll see
subtle,
something
a
like
very
that.
subtle difference. I'm with
You
you.
know, every
Mm-hmm.
once in a while when I know they're giving me like, like Cowboy, he'll give me that noise the ooh that Emmanuel was,
So is that before or after the rub down?
that's
The hot oil rub down. Is
before
that before or after?
and but yeah, so it like like you guys been saying, you got to learn your dogs, and I always tell everybody, I don't feel too comfortable giving you too much information over the phone because I haven't seen that dog. Sometimes somebody will ask me something, I could give them general information, but if they tell me, hey, I have this issue, sometimes I just don't feel comfortable giving them too much information because it could be something completely different than what I'm thinking or I've experienced because they're not familiar with certain ticks or they're just overthinking something when it could just be
Yeah.
something even simpler than it is.
Yeah.
Um yeah.
Yeah. I think the key to that is learning your dog, learning the dog, being observant, watching everything, being a student of your own program, and learning your own dog. You have to learn your own dog.
Yeah.
Every dog is going to be different. You might get 4 dogs that do the same exact thing, and on your 5th dog, it's completely different. You're like, it's not like these guys are doing, so you're gonna have to learn some of that stuff there. I think that covers a lot of the questions that he had. I'm looking at here. Wintertime. We talked about that, the wintertime stuff, and body language. And let's see here. We
I
talked
had a
about the
question.
glizzies,
I
aka
forgot.
the hot dogs.
I had a question. Somebody asked, where did Eli get those jeans that he was wearing at Bully Max last time?
Yo, stop playing with me, bro. Stop playing. Yo, stop playing. That's not even now. I gotta go on camera, bro. Stop playing. Stop playing. Yo, bro.
Hey, the crazy part, you know what? Since we love our viewers, those are P Diddy Sean John jeans, and he got them from Diddy's closet.
Oh my god!
They not Wranglers. Those the Diddy edition.
My god!
Oh my god!
Oh my god! Oh my
hey,
god!
whoever that was, hey, you had him blushing. You know what I'm saying?
Stop! Don't, no! Stop! Right,
oh my
there.
god!
Stop! Anyway, Jesus, Lord Almighty! Oh my god! Oh my god! Oh, this is why we don't go live. Oh man. Okay.
Oh my
god. Yo. Let's see here. We kind of went over most of the things. One of our other things they wanted to talk about was health testing with the dogs and health testing with the particular dogs that are competing and stuff like that. Now, I think with my dogs, it's a little bit different than per se, the American Pit Bull Terriers. For me, like the health testing is just standard anyway. We're doing that here. Our biggest thing is getting echoes done, getting the heart checked. That's a big thing for my breed in general. So we do that. I do get hips and elbows done as well. Again, I dealing with developing breed. So when a breed like this is still in developmental stages, you're going to accept certain things, that you don't accept with a fully established breed. So, but those are things that we do. And as far as I'm concerned, or what we're concerned about here at our program, this is part of our health testing. Running dogs through this gauntlet and putting dogs in a keep and making sure that they can mentally and physically stand to the work, right? This is, for us, this is a working breed. It's classified as a working breed, and we're trying to put the work into a working breed. So if they can't physically and mentally withstand the workload, then again, that's part of health testing. As far as I'm concerned, and that's a major part. We have dogs here that may never compete at all, but they've all been put in a harness, they've been put through a keep. You know, we want to make sure they're not fucking falling apart while they're in a keep. And if they can do that, great, then we're part of the program. We may never compete with the dog at all, but they need to be able to handle the keep, handle the mental stress that comes with it, and the physical stress. I think with the American Pit Bull Terriers and that line of dog, I think it's a little different as well. I think that's something that we're talking historically from a breed of dog that if it didn't perform well, it wasn't bred anyway, right? So, and I think from a weight pool perspective, it kind of falls into that category as well too. Like, Emmanuel's has a really strict program over there with his American Pit Bull Terriers and how they have to perform. So if they don't perform to a certain standard, they're not going to get bred anyway, And in order to perform to that standard, you have to mentally and physically be at top condition, And then I think then from there, you can do X-rays and stuff like that from there and check hearts and stuff. And you want to do embark, I guess you can do that as well. But I think first and foremost, the dog needs to perform, at least from the American people.
Yeah. So, hey, dude, you said that perfect, man. I mean, perfectly. For me over here at Funnyman Kennel, a dog has to perform first before I'm gonna waste money on OFA, elbows, hips, embark, all that. These dogs got to perform. I know a lot of people that got dogs, boy, tested from the tail to the nose, and them dogs won't do nothing. They won't work for my kennel. For other people kennel, man, hey, they might like it, but for my kennel, it won't work. So we work first. Then once I say, oh, you made the cut, now we start health testing and see if you're worthy of breeding. So yes, health testing is very good, but it shouldn't be put in front of the work.
And what people need to
If you
realize,
understand what I mean.
especially people that are new into dogs or new into breeding, health testing is a tool. It's a tool. It's not a form of elimination.
Yes.
And what I mean by that, it's a tool to help you breed in a certain direction. If you're lacking certain things, and then okay, well, I'm lacking here, so I need to bring in this. It's not, well, I'm lacking here, so just remove the animal completely. Now, I say that with an asterisk. Obviously, a dog has a heart condition, for an echo, that's a completely different story, right? And, you can't mess around with the heart. That just is what it is. But if you have less than ideal hips or less than ideal elbows, okay, well, then I'm going to breed to something that's better, especially if you have a dog that's an amazing working dog. That's great. It has the temperament, it has the style, its workability is there. And again, we're talking about like the American Pit Bull Terrier right now. And you have to make those adjustments. It's a tool, it's a blueprint. You look at it and you go, okay, well, I need better elbows. Okay, so this dog works, I'll find another dog, and then go from there and make it better. It's not just, oh, you had one elbows, remove the dog out of the program. You're silly doing stuff like that, because people have to remember, even with OFA, if you have 0 elbows or excellent hips and you bred it to another dog that's 0 excellent hips, you can still produce dogs with less than desirable hips and elbow scores. You can still produce a dog with slight or dysplasia, and it's right on their website. Like, this is not me making it up. They don't really know why that happens. It happens. And if the parents are good and the siblings are good as well, breed the dog. It says it on their website. I'm not making it up. You can go on there and go check it out. So what do you do as a breeder? You make those adjustments, but it's one of those things where, do you throw the baby out with the bathwater? Probably not, and people come in there and, come into this and they think everything has to be perfect across the board. Good luck with that.
Yeah.
That's not how it works. In a perfect world, it does, but it's not always going to be like that. And you have to understand that going into this, and especially when you're looking at working dogs, and like you said, there's been plenty of dogs that excellent all this stuff, and then can't work at all. The same thing with my breed. I've seen dogs, that have they're X-raying the spine and the this and the that, and everything is great, and it's got to clear everything. But then you're looking at the dog, and it looks like a Rhodesian Ridgeback mix. It looks like it's mixed with something else, and now you lost, the phenotype. It's great. The health scores are through the roof, but it no longer looks like a boerboel now. It's a, what do you do with that now? So, it's a fine line that you have to navigate, and you have to know how to navigate that. And again, it's a tool. It's not for elimination unless there's, it's different. You're looking at x-rays for your hips, and the socket's completely gone and the ball isn't even there and it's all jagged. Okay, that's a different story. But you just have a less score. Okay, breed to something better, and keep it
Yeah.
moving, especially good working dog. And people need to understand that, at
Yeah.
least from a breeding perspective. That's how we look at it.
Yeah, and I also
Yeah.
like to add that if you're doing any kind of like OFAs or pin hip, that you find somebody that actually knows how to do them correctly, because that's like one of the
Yeah,
biggest
that's
things
another
too.
thing. Yeah,
Yeah,
because you got to remember that that's subjective to the person that's
Yeah.
that's that's reading it. Number one, right? But more importantly, the the tech or the doctor. A lot of the times it's the techs that are doing it. If you find some of these clinics where you can have the actual doctor do it, you're at their mercy. If they're not positioning the dog correctly, the positioning alone is going to affect your rating and your scores. So the dog needs to be positioned correctly. So you have to find a place that's knows what they're doing, or find techs that know what they're doing and care, because they just put the dog down and turn, and then you go, oh, that's
That's
it. And
right.
you look at it and you don't know any better. You send it off. And I've seen that. I've seen dogs score badly because the positioning was off. You take the dog somewhere else and they position the dog better. Now it's a better score. It happens all the time. It happens all the time. So you got to keep that stuff in mind as well when you're doing this. The same
Yep.
thing with like in bark. You get some people that wig out because they saw something on the American Pit Bull Terriers in bark, and then they come to find out that that doesn't even apply to the breed. That's
yeah,
something that's a marker, but there's not enough evidence that suggests that that particular marker actually affects the American Pit Bull Terrier in whatever way that is. I've seen that. I've seen people, they see a certain marker and then they didn't do enough research to realize that there's no evidence yet for that particular breed. So that's something that needs to be looked at as well. There's markers that are breed specific. It's not always a general marker for every breed. So, just food for thought when it comes to stuff like that. I think, how do you guys feel about that? What do you guys think?
yeah, no, no, 100%. Yeah, for
I agree
sure.
Uh,
with you.
I think then,
I agree with you. Yep.
one of the other things I wanted to touch upon real quick was breeder ethics. That's been a hot topic lately. Breeder ethics.
Oh
Breeder
yeah.
ethics.
Hmm.
Let's talk about breeder ethics, or especially for people that are new into breeding or just getting into dogs in general, and what that really means and how important that is. There's been a bunch of stories coming out lately of weird shit going on.
Yeah,
Um,
this is what you mean by breeder athletes. You mean like between breeders
Yes,
and kind
between
of, yeah,
breeders, yeah.
yes,
Yep. If you're looking to get into it and you're doing some breedings, and or maybe, you got a dog and you want to breed it to some of the best stuff out there, you come to a manual, you say, "Hey, listen, I want to use your male, your, whatever, what to expect for that, and how does that work?" So I think the biggest thing is, if you're coming to someone to use their stud, understand most breeders are going to say to you, either you pay the stud fee, whatever that stud fee is, two, 3,000, $5,000, 6,000, whatever the stud fee is, or they get their pick puppy, right?
yeah,
That's usually the standard across, or they have, some people have where they split that in half and they say, okay, well, I'll take half of my stud fee and the first pick puppy, whatever it is here, male or female.
yeah,
Um, that's the standard. Don't think that you're coming in and you're going to change the standard and come up with, well, I'm using your stud, but as your payment, you're going to get third pick puppy or whatever. That doesn't really work like that. I've seen this weird things going on, and I'm like, that's not how it
yeah.
works.
I always
So
say make sure there's established kind of somewhat
Yeah.
contract or something. It's like, something that you guys talked about. Don't just come in thinking someone is like, thinking like you, just because some people don't have that, I don't want to say in a sense like common sense to, what I'm saying, to put it
yeah,
nicely,
no,
but be
that's
like,
what it is.
hey,
Yeah. I mean, we've ran into this situation ourselves where we had somebody, use a stud of ours, and then because their dog needed a C-section, now they wanted us to be hold accountable because their dog needs a
yeah,
C-section from using our stud. In
mhm,
in what world is that? In what dimension is that even a reality? No dimension ever. I don't. There's no breeder that's been doing this anywhere at any point in time that's going to say, "Hey, you know, um, yes, since you use my male as a stud and now your dog needs a C-section, the stud owner is responsible in any type of way for the C-section. Zero.
Yeah.
And then the same thing goes if you use that stud dog and your dog needs a C-section, and the agreement was a puppy back to the stud owner. You have 2 puppies. Well, guess what? You still got to give up a puppy because that was your agreement with the stud owner, right? Now, you guys correct me if I'm wrong. Is that how that works or no? What do you think?
Yeah, I think so too. And if I ran into some situation like that, and I've like, let's say I needed something for my program or something, that serious, and I'm like, hey, you know, so just talk,
Yeah.
because that's, to be honest with you,
Talk.
sometimes
Correct.
simple things just go a long way. Just, hey, what do you think of this? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
just something
yeah,
simple.
yeah.
But
But at no point should the
correct,
breeder, I mean, should the owner of the male take
correct,
a loss because you
correct.
feel something or
Not how
you
it works.
feel
No,
this or
no.
you feel
Correct.
that.
Absolutely
No,
not.
not how
If
it
I had a
works.
female and I did a breeding with and I just if I did a breeding with Jonathan and I had a female, and Jonathan said, "Hey, listen, man, just throw me back first pick female out of that, or first pick male out of that breeding, right?" And I only have 2 puppies, and she needed a C-section. Well, whose
Mhm.
responsibility is that? That's
That'll be
mine.
mine.
That's my responsibility.
Oh
That
yeah,
C-section.
yeah.
And,
Female,
yeah,
female.
and then
No, I thought,
Well, shit, I want to breed with John
I
because
thought I had,
it sounds like he
but
gonna take
no.
responsibility of my bitch C-section. Yeah, hell yeah. Hey, what you got over there to breed,
now I have
Jonathan?
2 puppies. I have 1 male and 1
Shit.
female. Guess what happens? That male puppy, which is supposed to be Jonathan's payment, still goes to Jonathan.
Yeah,
That's his payment. We have an agreed upon agreement before
Yeah.
that. And and guess what? My responsibility, to that contract, to that verbal agreement, to that handshake, or whatever it is to give him that male puppy. That was agreed upon. Now, if for some reason, at the kindness of his fucking heart, he decides that, hey, don't worry about it, then okay, don't worry about it. But if I go to Jonathan, hey, Jonathan, I had 2 pups, I had a C-section. You still want your payment? You want that puppy? Jonathan goes, yeah, man, that sucks. But yeah, I'd like my payment, my stud fee, which was that male. Guess what? Here you go, man. Here's your male
yeah,
puppy. Now,
yeah.
at no point in time should anybody think that now, I go to John. If I come to you, Jonathan, I say, well, Jonathan, you know what? I only had 2 pups, 1 male, 1 female. But, since I needed a C-section, I don't think you should get this dog for free. I think now you should pay me $3,000. I would expect Jonathan to tell me to go fly a fucking kite in a thunderstorm, right?
Yeah,
You know what I'm saying?
yeah,
Am I
100% right.
correct in saying that? Am I correct? Would
Yeah,
you tell me to go fuck off? Yeah.
yeah.
Emmanuel, you've been breeding for a while. How would your response to that conversation be?
No, hey, look, you're right on the money. There's nothing I can really add to it. Hey, you're right. You're 100% right. If I'm the owner of the female, I'm making sure you get your dog. If I'm the owner of the male, hey, look, if I'm the owner of the male, man, shit, I'm looking for my dog. But see, now is where you say because so I'm the owner of the female and I have 2 puppies and I'm out of about, let's say, $3,000 for a C-section for those big ass dogs you got, and I say, okay, I'm giving you a dog, and guess what? I took a hell of a beating on this. Most people gonna say, yeah, we can run it back. I don't mind. Easy enough. We've been
Exactly.
straight
Now,
up with
you
each
see
other
how
all
you
this
said, do
time.
you
Why not run it
mind
back? No
if we run
problem.
it back? But now, if I came to you, right, and
Yeah.
since you're the owner of the stud, right, and I'm the owner of the female, if I came to you and I said, well, how are you going to supplement my income now, Emmanuel? I only had 2 puppies and I had a C-section. I need you to supplement me for that C-section. What are you going to say to that?
I don't know. I don't know. Hey, that's a hard one for me, man. I'll probably start like supplement you. I don't know what kind of supplements you want.
That's your dog. That's right. That's your
It's
dog.
no
You
supplement.
know what I'm
That's
saying?
your dog.
If I turn around and I say, well, I know that's how breeders do this, but I don't want to do it that way. You need to give me some money if you want your puppy. Most people, I think, to anybody who's been doing this long enough, is going to tell that person to go fucking fly a kite in a thunderstorm. So
Yeah.
hey.
Well, that's how Benjamin Franklin became popular.
You know what I mean? So there goes your supplemental income right there.
There go your
right?
supplemental income.
And that's just pure greed at that point, is what that comes down to.
That's right.
So understand that that's not how this works. If you're new in the breeding and you think that that's what's going to happen, you're sorely mistaken. You're sorely mistaken. That's not how this works.
Yeah.
And make sure your agreements that you have with whatever person, whatever breeder that is, you follow through. Your word means a lot. It carries a long way. You build up a bad reputation, no one's going to want to work with you. And don't think that people aren't going to say stuff behind your back, because they are. So just keep that in mind when you're doing stuff like this. If you have an agreement with somebody, you keep your agreement, you stick to your words. If you have a dog from somebody and it's not working out, it doesn't work out for whatever reason, you can't keep it. The aliens fucking came down and told you, you shouldn't have this dog, or whatever happens. What do? You pick up the phone and you call your breeder back and you say, hey man, here's your dog. What do you want me to do? You just don't turn around, sell it to Joe Schmo down the road, or sell it to this other person or whatever it is. You give the dog back. You give your breeder the option to have that dog back, whatever it is. And this is why contracts are so important, because people need to respect, and some people don't respect it. So I encourage anybody getting into it, have a contract, and make sure your dogs go back, because while there's some people that may not care, there's a lot of breeders that do care about what happens to their dogs. They don't want them to end up in shelters. They don't want them to end up in the wrong hands. They want them to come back to them, and the breeder should have the choice, first and foremost. The breeder might tell you, hey man, go ahead, do whatever you got to do with it. That's fine, but you have to give them that choice first. You got to give them that. You got to give them that option. You have to.
Choice.
And one thing
that's right.
Yeah. One thing as breeders too, like especially you trying to breed stuff. There's gonna be a time where it's like you're gonna take a loss, and at no point, if you take a loss, is it anybody's responsibility for just how Eli was talking about. It's nobody's responsibility to make up that loss. Unfortunately, with breeding dogs and doing this as a hobby, you're gonna take a loss at some point, and you're gonna have to eat whatever comes with doing this. You know what I'm saying? And not just the working aspect. That's just the doing the dog thing.
That's true.
100%.
Yeah.
100%. Totally right. What were you gonna say?
No, I was what I was gonna say is was that all our question? Because I got another question kind of off topic that I wanted to ask.
That was pretty much it for the questions. I had two other things
today.
But go ahead.
All right. So okay. So So you had a big moment this year, man. Cold River Kennel, man, did a big thing. I wanted to see if we can elaborate on what that big thing was. And it's a record, and me being on the board of this organization, I'm gonna see if we can get it posted somehow.
Yeah. So November,
it's a big thing.
The UPF Willie Mack show. Sun Wukong set a new UPF world record. 16,917 pounds. Again, can't thank Bully Max enough for the event. The place is always amazing. The track is fantastic, and I think it was pretty cool. For us, it's a big thing for us for the breed that we have, because it's not a weight pool breed, right? It's something we're starting, a line of dog from scratch, that can hopefully withstand, the workload that comes into it. So it's a big thing for us that way. It's a big thing for the breed. As far as we know, no the boerboel has ever done anything to that extent. No boerboel has proved that much, not here in the United States, and I don't think overseas as well either. I think from our understanding, lack of better terminology, that's the strongest boerboel in the world right now. And he set the UPF world record, which is a pretty cool thing. At least we think so anyway. So
I was gonna say I've heard of some other boerboels that are pretty strong, but I think Fun got it.
So and it's pretty cool for him, because it's coming along. He's the first boerboel, to win an ADBA national event. It's the first boerboel to take a most weight pull event at an ADBA national event, and then now he's the first boerboel, to set a world record like that. and the first boerboel to move so much weight. So for us, we're really proud of the dog and
Amazing.
proud on
Yep.
how the program is going so far.
And not only that, man,
Oh
this
my
joker
God.
breeds good too. Tell them a little bit about that, man. You
Yeah,
got some
I got
world's
puppies
strongest
on him
puppies
right
on
now.
the ground.
They look great. They look fantastic. I'm excited about these puppies off of him. They look like miniature clones of him, so it's going to be pretty cool. I'm excited about it.
Yeah.
Yep, I'm excited.
Yeah, 100%, man. So if you didn't get yours before
Year.
Christmas, man, shit, get it before New Year's. Get it before Martin Luther King birthday. You can get it before something. They'll be
We got
ready.
another important thing to talk
But if you
about,
snooze, you
which
lose.
is, what is going on, where you're going in 2026 for which is for us, and I think for everybody involved in the sport is a big thing. Tell us a little bit of what's going on with Italy. How you making out over there?
All right. So Valentina and Simo, they asked me, Brian Hausfeld, and Melinda Hausfeld to come over there and judge the weight pull UPF show over there. And if I'm not mistaken, it's the first UPF show in Italy, and it's called the A Dawn of a New Chapter. And they're gonna have wall climb, mill race. They're even gonna have a show ring show,
Sure.
which is pretty much gonna be more of a judge's choice kind of thing. But man, it's gonna be huge. Anytime you fly, you fly 3 judges, not just any judges. Judges that are actually active in pulling and winning. You invite them over to judge shows for you. It's gonna be a big thing. So not only will people get to meet us, but hopefully we get a little time to do maybe some seminars, some talking, some training, how to get started. Just some more hands-on stuff with people over there, shaking hands, kissing babies, and taking a bunch of pictures, man. And I'm all for it, and I'm ready to go. That'll be March the 6th, 7th, and 8th. So man, if you guys are in Europe, man, please come out. I would love to meet every one of my Facebook followers, Instagram followers, TikTok followers. You guys get to meet the people. Come on out. And plus now, hey, look, another thing, FMK, we got a puppy over coming out. That'll be that puppy's debut show. FMK's American's Best, also known as Tabby. So that'll be her first show. Will be that Dawn of a New Chapter UPF show, and I got high hopes for her.
And that's exciting. To see the sport, growing in that fashion, to see it going overseas the way it's going, to see, judges from over here, United States, going over there, representing us. I know you guys are going to represent us well. As your friend, I'm ecstatic for you guys. I think, and I said this before in a post, I think this needs to be celebrated by everybody, no matter what organization you are. If you're UPF, if you're APA, your ADBA, your IWPF, I think this is a celebration to see the sport expanding the way it's expanding. And everybody should be celebrating this. As your friend, I'm extremely happy for you, and I know you guys are going to do fantastic over there. I'm looking forward to it, like I was the one fucking going. So that's fantastic. You guys are doing that.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, man, and all the best. I'm gonna eat some of that margarita pizza and spaghetti and meatballs, all kind of stuff I ain't never had before. Lasagna, everything.
Ravioli, we said.
So I'm ready. Ravioli.
So with all that's going on, what do you guys think 2026 is going to be looking like? Because we're closing up the year, and what do you think that's going to be looking like for you guys so far?
Well, 2026 for me, man, I'll be raising a new litter of dogs. I'll be pulling JT and Kelly this year. End of the year could be Kelly's first breeding. So I keep telling people, I'm breeding Kelly 2026. I would be in my DM if I was you, but who am I? But I'm gonna tell you, really, the 2026 gonna be good. I got shows planned on the West Coast. I got shows planned for the Midwest. Shows planned for just all across the country this year. So I'm gonna do a little traveling. But I'm gonna tell you, 2027, man, it's gonna be even better. I'm gonna have about 5 dogs I'm gonna be pulling in 2027 in all different classes.
Okay,
so you guys look out.
How's that looking for you, 2026, Jonathan?
For me, I mean, I feel I want to hit a couple shows. I want to do all 3. I want to try to get all 3 again this year. With Utah being just a 36-hour drive, it kind of gets a little, I get a little hesitant, but I like to do.
Oh, Jonathan stopped recording. Jonathan's recording.
Yeah, I
Stop.
got a
There you
phone
go.
call. I
Hold
got
on
a
a
phone
second.
call, but you good?
Okay. Is it working now? I think so.
Yeah.
You back in? Yeah, I think you're back in now. Yep.
Okay. And like I said,
Yes,
I'll
yeah,
probably
there you
hit a
go.
couple
Okay.
shows. I'll go up your guys' way. Hit that New Jersey show. I'll probably hit some of that Midwest show. What maybe one, maybe two. But for sure, I'll be up there, up your guys' way. And hit some of those shows up there. Um, yeah.
Okay,
Well,
shit
Yeah.
sound good.
for us, it's going to depend on how we're looking at with young dogs. We got a lot of stuff going on over here. I'm excited to bring out what was going to be like our maybe like our second generation dog. I think, that dog Conquest we got coming out. I'm excited to bring that dog out and see where she's going to be at. Um, and kind of just looking forward to that. I haven't really planned too much. Just been taking it, 1 month at a time. We'll kind of figure it out what we're gonna go to, but who knows? Maybe we might have to go to nationals out and across the whole damn country. So we'll see what
You need
happens.
to. Hey, you should,
Yeah.
man.
So we'll see what happens
I
and kind
think
of
it'll
take
be
it from there.
a good idea. I mean, shit, if you don't go to ADBA, at least hit UPF, man. That's gonna be that's the the
Yeah,
competition
buddy.
that's separate the boys from the men.
Yeah, buddy.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I think that's pretty much it for this show. I mean, the
hmm
2025 I think has been pretty good to everybody involved. How many nationals you win in 2025? What was that? What was that? Yeah,
I got two nationals, man.
the
I
king
got
and the queen.
the
Big
two big
dog,
ones. I got the king and
big
the
dog.
queen.
What was 2025 for you?
I got the king and the queen.
It was a little bit of head. I think I only got one, to be honest with you.
Yeah, you got
This year was
one.
a little bit not as fruitful as the past years, but
Sure,
I mean I
sure.
can't complain. Going up against some of the best dogs, especially in that UPF, I think that's the one that truly, you know, kind of sets of who you kind of are and where you're at.
Yeah,
Um, you know, especially competing against all genders
hmm
being together, you kind
yeah,
of get a a good view
yeah, yeah.
of where they're at.
You know, I was just about to say, and I want you to know, I want you guys to know something. It's not Jonathan's fault. Like you said, he did kind of better at UPF than he did at ABA. Well, ADBA, that's when they had it was rumors that Diddy was getting out, and he got a little nervous. Diddy,
Ah,
Diddy was supposed to be coming back down to the
yeah.
house in Florida, and Jonathan didn't like that, and it threw him off. But when he found out Diddy was back in jail, Jonathan got them dogs right. So just
Oh
let you
my
guys
god.
know that's not his fault.
Oh my god.
P Diddy's ruining lives.
Oh my god. Well, I
Oh my
think
god.
Hey, look, and this is stuff you guys don't tease him about this. But he told me some days he would go to sleep and be a dog
oh
next to
my
him. Some
god.
days he'll wake up and it'll be Diddy.
Oh
So
my god.
hey, listen.
Oh my god.
Something
Oh my god.
he's taking.
Oh my
So
god. Oh my god.
he had good
Uh,
reasons. He had good
well,
reasons.
I think that's going to
Good
be a
reasons.
wrap, folks. I think on our next podcast will probably be right at the beginning of the new year, and we'll take it from there. All
Oh,
right,
I don't
2026. What do you got?
I don't know if you got
2026
want to
over and
mention
out.
because the live. I don't know if you
Oh,
wanna.
that's right. That's
Yeah.
right. We're going to
Yeah.
try and set up a live podcast. We're probably going to run it off of TikTok. We'll put it out. Maybe we'll put it out on the EE&J K9LAB Facebook page. We're going to announce it there on all of our pages. Yeah, we'll
Yeah.
announce it everywhere.
On
Yep.
all of our
And then if
pages,
everybody
we'll
want to
announce it
get
everywhere,
on,
so
so that
people know.
we're just going to try and do one of these podcasts that we do like this and run it live at the same time, so people can go on, ask questions live. I'm sure, we'll make fun of Jonathan as much as we
Yeah.
can on it, and
Make sure that you guys give the donation for the internet. We can't make sure, especially if we're going live, we can't have cutoffs. We got to make sure
yeah,
we
yeah,
get that.
oh, yeah.
No, my phone worked good on TikTok. It worked good on TikTok. But I will tell you, I am gonna
Awesome.
go
Perfect.
live over in Italy as well. So for anybody that can't make it to Italy, I will be going live, Funny Man Kennel, and I'm be using the TikTok platform because I like the TikTok platform is a little bit more interactive. You guys see it in real
Yeah.
time, and it just a lot less glitches. So I'm gonna go TikTok this time, and you guys will be able to ask questions then and there, or you know and I'll do my best to answer everything I can,
Okey doke.
Yeah.
Yep. Yeah.
if
So
I'm not judging.
we're going to come up with a date for that, and we'll give
All right.
everybody a heads up, a notice, and we'll set it up that way. And then anybody can go on live and throw questions at us, while we're doing one of these podcasts. So hopefully that'll be fun. All right.
All
20.
right, guys.
All right, guys. I think that's it. It's a wrap, and until the next one, we're out.
Yes, sir.